Hello, welcome to Miss Casella's classroom on YouTube. Those of you who know me know I love to think, pair, share it up with other like-minded people. I wanted to share an idea with you today, and then I wanted to expand on how I was able to reuse these resources. And so this isn't my idea. Someone shared it with me at a professional development. So you buy these eggs at the dollar store. You can find them around Easter time. And you shake them up, and students have to guess what's inside. And then you open it one at a time. And inside are animals. I found these animals at the dollar store as well. And what students have to do, this is targeted for kindergarten and grade 1, they organize which ones come from an egg and which ones don't. And depending on how creative you are, how much time you have, you could create a bucket that says eggs or no eggs. You could have a piece of paper with a line down the middle. One side is for the animals who come from an egg, the other side of the paper, animals which don't come from an egg. And you might want to even create a nest, or you might want to use nothing and just the students put it on the right side and the other one's on the left side, something like that. And I thought to myself, that's a nice activity and everything. However, as you know, resources cost money, and how can I reuse this? What about if I'm teaching kindergarten grade 1 and next year, the way the school population falls, I have to teach grade 3 or 4? And I've invested in these resources. Well, don't you worry. You can definitely use the same activity. It's fun for students to organize and classify information. It's fun for them to have something a little bit easier to do, and we're always considering differentiated learning. So even though this activity was targeted for kindergarten grade 1, it's fun for the grade 3s to play around and have a discussion about which ones come from an egg. Some animals are easier than others. And just to also kick it up a notch, I might further my questions. Which ones come from the jungle? Which ones can you find at the farm? Which ones would you consider having as a pet? Which ones start with the letter D? Which ones have 1 syllable, 2 syllable, 3 syllables, 4 syllables? I might ask the students which ones are carnivores, omnivores, herbivores. What do those words mean? So now they have to define the vocabulary and then give a list of where the animals fall under. I might also ask them for examples of food the animals might eat. I might ask them to describe one of the animal's habitats. I'm giving them a choice. I'm offering flexibility. I might even go as far to provide them with a blank paper and say, you know what, you're the scientist, you figure it out. You talk to each other and figure out how you're going to present your results to me. And they like that. They have to fall back on what they've learned in math class. They might choose to use a T-chart or a graph, maybe a bar graph. They might have a checklist. Again, falling back on differentiated learning, I might provide the checklist or the graph to get them started, perhaps even to save time. I might even provide them with a word box. As a, speaking about herbivores and carnivores and omnivores, I might ask them, what are you? Are you a vegetarian? Are you a herbivore? What animals can you find at the grocery store? Which ones are on the menu? Can you give an example of food a human might eat which comes from a cow? Did you know that leather is animal skin? So really opening the doorway to having a conversation. And I wanted to throw in an element of a writing piece. So I might put the animals inside the egg put students in a group, give them an egg, and when they open the egg, I say, okay, you know what? You have to write a story, and these are the characters in your story. And something happens, there's a problem, you're the writer, you have to figure it out, and then the problem somehow gets resolved, and you have to use these animals as your characters. So it's fun and funny, interesting to see what they can come up with. I might also, let's say I'm doing a unit on dinosaurs. Usually I just as a hook for my class, I like to put things in the mystery box. But if I'm running short of resources, I want to reuse materials, I might shake this up to introduce a unit. Students have to guess what's inside. I might have a student open it. Here we are, there's a dinosaur. We're going to be studying dinosaurs for the next couple of weeks, something like that. Or maybe we're going to study extinct animals. Or maybe we're doing a list of what we know, what we want to know, what we've learned, and I can route it right back to this dinosaur, or whatever I can fit inside this box, or egg, I should say. Wanted to give a shout out to upper elementary teachers and intermediate teachers. Perhaps you're doing a review, a unit review, or a novel study. Rather than give students a sheet of paper with a bunch of questions, why don't you divide those questions out, sneak them inside these eggs. It's interesting and fun for students. They can have an egg individually, they could have an egg in their group. You can say, okay, if you have a green egg, you have to partner up with somebody who has a yellow egg, so that way everybody has access to all the questions. Again, always promoting social emotional learning. I might put scenarios inside of these eggs, and every day open one up and read the scenario, and we talk about it. It doesn't have to be a scenario, it might just be a question. What do you think it means to be honest? And students give results, and you have a conversation about that. What are virtues? What does it mean to have a controlled virtue? So for example, if somebody lost $5 and I saw that, I'd go, here's your $5, I'd give it to them. Why? Because it comes from the heart, it's the right thing to do. I saw that that money clearly belongs to them. But maybe I don't want to do that. I'm being dishonest. Maybe there's a camera watching, and only because there's a camera videotaping me, I give the $5 back. My virtue's controlled. So lots of stuff you can do with this, and I wonder what ideas you have to share, to think, pair, share it up with. I'm always interested to hear, and I'm always interested to hear how we can reuse resources. Something like Miss Casella's classroom, this episode was just rooted in one activity where you had to organize which animals came from an egg and which ones didn't. Hope to see you next time.